everybody, and welcome to Bucs Bounty, the post-Christmas, pre-New Year's edition. We're somewhere in the middle. It's actually my daughter's birthday tomorrow. We are recording
Oh,
this on the 29th. My daughter
happy
turns 1
birthday.
on the 30th. We're going to the zoo. She's going to love it. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited. There are no gingerbread men at the zoo. Actually, there might be. It's still
There could be.
Christmas time, right?
You have to
Yeah, I could
believe,
see that happening.
Steven.
That's true.
Believe.
I'm not a believer anymore. I need to get back on the train. Speaking of being a
Yes.
believer, I
Yeah.
got all of my Pittsburgh Pirates gear that I have. It actually says Pittsburgh Pirates. I'm pretty proud of that. That was an accident, but it does work very well. Michael McKenry, Steven Brault joining you guys. Michael's got pom-poms because he is Pittsburgh's #1 cheerleader. No surprise there. But Michael, man, hey, if we're talking about Christmas presents, we hope everybody had a great time. How about we're talking about the Pirates doing some crazy stuff this offseason? And we're just going to jump right in because we want to talk about a few things today that are all going to take a little time. We're going to talk about Ryan O'Hearn signing with the Pirates. We're going to talk about the new coaching staff that Donnie Kelly has finalized. We're going to do some, I have a little fun with our holiday choices for some Pirates stuff. And you know what? We got to figure out where the Pirates are going to go from here. There's still some moves to be made if you want to complete this roster. To Michael, man, so close. And what do you feel so far? You got to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, and I mean the fact is you said Christmas came early. So what better present than getting some offense, the Pirates upgrading their teams, getting a 2-year deal for the first time since Yovan Nova. But I want to know, what was your favorite Christmas present other than what the Pirates gave, Steven?
Oh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I got a my wife. She got me a 2-hour long head massage at a spa.
Head,
It's
just the
coming up
head.
this week. Just a head massage for 2 hours. You get like shampoo,
Oh,
conditioner, all that stuff. It's not even a haircut. It's just a head massage. That's like my favorite thing. And so I'll probably be awake only for about 15 minutes of it, but I'm definitely going to enjoy it. That's for sure. What
yes.
about you?
You
What'd
got
you
to let me
get?
know how that goes. You got to let me know
I
how
will.
that
I
goes.
will.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds amazing. Do you get smarter
Thank you.
after
What did
that?
you get? No.
Um, well, right before Christmas, I got myself a new car, but that doesn't really count.
Ooh.
Um, actually, one of the coolest things, me and my wife usually open up tonight or tomorrow because we go spend about 5 days in for Christmas in Knoxville. So I don't know what she got me yet.
Hmm?
But my mom and dad, so two things that were really cool. So I collect old baseball stuff, mask, old gloves. My mom got me this old chest protector, dude. And I'm not kidding. The area that covers the cup is like this big. It's ginormous. Whoever wore this was 50 feet tall. Okay. And then she got me an old glove that had Knox on it. Like
Ooh.
probably from the 20s, maybe even sooner than that. But the Knox, I'm from Knoxville. So super cool. And my dad made me a pirate ship.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to bring your new old catcher's gear
Yeah.
into the studio one of these days. I want to see if it can withstand. We'll put it in front of the pitching machine and just pepper you with baseballs and see how it stands up to current gear.
I'm telling you, it is so soft. I'm sure it's got mold and everything else. Probably don't want to lay on it, but man, it is soft. But I bet it would hurt. We'll try it out. I love that. I want to
All
see if
right,
I can
before we
catch.
transition, I'm
I want to
sure
see if I
you
can catch.
can.
No, with the thing, it doesn't have. You have to catch it with two hands, dude. There's no wonder these
Yeah, you
guys'
can
hands
catch
are
with
like
two
this when
hands.
they're. But like all those old catchers are like, "Ugh." It's that's why.
Just this kind of catching.
Imagine catching Paul
We'll get
Skeeth at
there eventually.
100 with a donut. I mean, just no chance. Oh
That's terrifying. All right, let's
yeah.
talk about the newest addition to the Pirates, Ryan O'Hearn, signed for 2 years, $29 million contract. There's also some incentives in there based on plate appearances and basically how many games he plays, how often he's in the lineup, which is going to be every day. Ryan O'Hearn, an interesting story because he's a guy I played against coming up in the minor leagues. He's a little bit younger than me, but I pitched against him in AAA. I pitched against him when he was with the Royals in the major leagues, and he always had this big long swing. He had a huge hitch in his swing. And then 2023, he gets DFA'd. The Orioles pick him up. They put him in the minor leagues. He manages to make to the big league squad in April. So, I mean, basically had the whole season. Has a really good season. And if you go look at the swing, the hitch is very much reduced. He's much quicker to the ball. And what do you know? 23, 24, 25. He plays really well, ends up playing half of last season with the Padres, does well there in San Diego. And man, the Pirates stealing him away from the Padres and from other teams that I'm sure wanted him, I think is a big sign that the Pirates were probably the biggest offer he got. And this is a great thing to see. Going out and getting a guy you know you need. You now have two left-handed power bats that you've added to that lineup. O'Hearn, not a huge power guy, only 17 home runs last year, and that's his career high. But he's got contact. He hits the ball well. He walks a good amount. This is the kind of guy that you're looking to add to an offense that obviously needed improvement. Ryan O'Hearn, one of three guys that the Pirates were, all abuzz on in early in the offseason. Ryan O'Hearn signed him. Brandon Lowe traded for him. And the third one is Cosma Okamoto, who we'll get into later. But Michael, this signing for O'Hearn is a little bit interesting because Horwitz really showed off in the end of the season at first base. You still need to figure out who your everyday left fielder is going to be, but you just got Jake Mangum, who's going to cover a lot more ground in that big left field. So to me, and maybe I'm wrong here, is this more indicative of a DH signing than necessarily a first baseman left fielder signing?
So it's funny you say that. And it's funny because we don't prepare for these things together. We do it separately. Belsky, our producer, who's awesome, kind of puts together a rough rundown. We go back and forth. But I looked up those numbers. I looked up O'Hearn and Lowe and these guys and what they did at DH because my last year I played outfield, I DH'd a bunch, and I caught the premier guys just to be a mentor. And Hearn's numbers are interesting as a DH. He's got 168 games, which I think is a really awesome sample size. 253, 336 on base, 426 slugging. That's around 760 when it comes to OPS. 25 homers, 80 RBI. So you think about a full year of baseball, and that's what he's doing as a DH, which is remarkable. Now, my question is, can he sustain those numbers not going in the field? That's always something I worry about. Brian Reynolds did not hit well as a DH until the last 2 months of the season, but he also didn't play good defense the last half of the season. So it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a lot of moving pieces. Do they bring back Kutch? I think he'd be an interesting compliment, especially with lefties on the bump to both these guys we just got because neither one of them crushed lefties. I think Mangum's probably going to see a lot of center field when there's lefties on the mound, and they may try to platoon Cruz a little bit, as much as I hate that because of what he did the year before against lefties. It is going to be interesting because for the first time in a long time, we have depth in AAA. We have more of a team than a bunch of dudes trying to figure out who fits where. Dudes fit where they fit, right? Lowe's not going to be moving around the diamond. He's either going to DH or play second base, right? He's established himself long enough. O'Hearn's not going to run out and play center field, right? He's going to play right field. He's going to play left field. He's going to play first. He's going to DH. I mean, it's not these question marks that we've had in the past. Now the question marks come where's Jack Sawinski play, right? Where does Password play with all these guys kind of in the fold? But that's the coolest part. Jack Sawinski, whether he makes the team or not is a question mark. If he doesn't make the team, we may be able to push him into AAA and have great depth there. Password pushes AAA, have great depth there. But we have a chance to have a good big league squad, a good enough team. If we sign some veteran help, I think we still need some pitching. And I would love a right-handed bat or two to complement all these lefties. But the reality of it is we're going to be deep in AAA with some of the best prospects in all baseball, and we're going to be really, really, really good in the big leagues and a chance to get better as the year goes along. Because if we're in the thick of it, Steven, think about it. If we're in the thick of it in July, what's going to happen? We're going to upgrade. We're going to go get what we need. But I think for the first time in a long time, and I was just with Greg Brown before the Christmas break, and my key word is identity. And I think for the first time, that's going to be established since probably Hurdle was here. Like, who are the Pittsburgh Pirates going into 2026? And I think that's the biggest acquisition of them all. What's the name? What's the theory? Are we going to be the Pirates? Are we going to be the Runners? What are we going to be? going into 2026. I hope we are a terror.
I agree. So this is really difficult, but I tried to do a little bit of a depth chart here, right? You're not going to be able to see it
I
because
can't
that's just not how cameras work. But basically, the whole point of this is trying to figure out
love it.
who is going to be playing where. Okay, so
Let's go.
you can't read it. It's too white.
No, just go
But
go through
the
it
truth
then.
is, things get a little interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
now we have three lefty hitters who you want in the lineup all the time. Sorry, you have four lefty hitters you want in the lineup all the time. You got O'Neill Cruz, you got Ryan O'Hearn, you got Brandon Lau, and you got Spencer Horwitz. Okay, so the question's going to end up being once you sign, hopefully Cosmo Okamoto as a right-handed hitter. But now as you go forward, you got to figure out which of those guys are going to play against lefties, right? Because you're not going to have a lefty dominant lineup against right-handed pitching. That's just not how baseball works anymore with the way analytics works. It's just not. So the question becomes who's going to hit against lefties, right? If you go look at the numbers, Ryan O'Hearn last year, basically the same splits, lefty, righty. He's a guy that I'd be totally fine. He can fill in either if you need him to go out to a position or you need to throw him at DH for that day, whatever works. Brandon Lau has been pretty good against lefties. That's nice. We saw O'Neill Cruz crush lefties 2 years ago, but then this last year, it was not good. It was really not good against lefties. And Horwitz, at the end of the season, finally started playing against lefties
Well,
and
you
did
finally got a
well against
chance,
them.
right?
Exactly.
I mean that's the reality.
So,
It's all
like
about that chance.
yeah, right, but that's the question. At the beginning of the season, who's going to
Mhm.
be playing against left-handed pitching? Because you're going to have to get some sample size here to figure out who's going to be the guys who play every day against left-handed pitching and who you genuinely want to save for later in the game when a righty comes in from the bullpen, right? But it gives the Pirates a little bit more flexibility when it comes to hitting with power from the left side, especially late in the game. Pirates didn't score runs late in games last year. 7 through 9 just didn't really happen. And so the Pirates are going to find and need a way to do that. And you have now this opportunity with a few lefties who can all hit that are all going to need a few days off every now and then anyway. So a day that a lefty starts, if two of them aren't in the lineup, man, if you're a right-handed bullpen pitcher and you get up, you start warming up, and your coach goes, hey, you got this guy and this guy coming up, which means you're actually probably getting O'Hearn and Cruz, like that all of a sudden changes things at the end of ball games as well on days that lefties are starting. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to play out. But one thing I want to make very clear here, I believe Spencer Horwitz should be the everyday first baseman, lefty, righty, no matter what. I think the consistency of his bat, his solid defensive play, I want him to get the opportunity to go out and get 150 hits and 70 walks this year, right? I mean, it's something that he could do. We haven't seen it, but if he gets an opportunity every day, I believe that he could be a really solid player that you want in your lineup every day. So then the question is like, where do you go from there? You have a new problem. You have too many good hitting left-handed hitters. That's a good problem to have. Now you have to be able to balance it out. You have to even it out and find a way that at the beginning of games against left-handed starters, you can't just not score runs, right? So who's going to step up? Michael, you got anybody do you think when it comes to guys like Nick York, Jack Brannigan, Gonzalez, Trillo, anybody maybe on the fringes you could see really stepping up against lefties as this season progresses?
I mean, the name that jumps out is Joey Bart. And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is because what he did against lefties even last year was really good. Now he was magnificent in 24.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like which guy are we going to get? Either one is good. Obviously, if we get Kutch back, I think that helps out in the late innings. I think he plays a little bit different role unless he earns more of those swings, just because the way the entire lineup set up. Now I think he's more valuable going to a the seventh inning at bat against a tough lefty or a bullpen arm. Maybe later on when you think about who could be at the bottom of our order. So yeah, there's more options than we've ever had. I think Nick Gonzalez is going to play second base just about every time a lefty pitches, or he's going to play, every time a lefty's on the bump somewhere. I don't know if he may be the guy that's floating around if we don't end up getting third baseman from uh, overseas. It's going to be interesting, Steven. And one thing I would pay attention to if I was a fan, I'm kind of giving you a little bit of advice, fans out there, is see what's happening in spring training. Is Lowe playing against lefties on the big field? If not, I'm assuming these guys are going to get a ton of at bats on the backfield. They're
Yeah.
going to get a ton of at bats against Traject, and they're going to kind of see, okay, who's comfortable, who's not. And my favorite part about our signings thus far is, I mean, you can even look at Mangum. This guy's 29 years old. Obviously, he only has a year in the big leagues, but he's weathered, right? He's been around. He's walked through the storms. Low, he's been around. He's been hurt in the big leagues. He's been an all-star, been MVP votes. And then O'Hearn, this guy's had an up and down career, but he's been a huge prospect. He had the best year of his career last year, got traded to a big market team in San Diego. And now he decided, hey, first time I'm going after free agency. I'm going to sign with the Pittsburgh Pirates because I feel like something's there and I'm excited to be there. So we have guys that have time, and that's what we needed. That's what we needed to help Brian Reynolds be better, because you need someone to hit behind him, but you also need a voice. And these guys are tweeting out how much they want to be in Pittsburgh. They're talking, they're out in front, and that's what we've needed so much more than I think people realize, because that's what creates a culture, right? And all these guys have been on winning teams, so it's going to be interesting as we move forward. What's the compliments, right? I think we try to see, how does Mangum fit in on a week to week basis with his playing time. I think that's going to be more evident than anything, that it's going to be very, very specific, right? Guys aren't going to be shocked at when they play. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, this is my day. I know it's my day. I think that's what will make Reynolds better. That's what's going to make Cruz better. It's what's going to be better for Kutch if he ends up signing back. That's what's so cool about this. There's not going to be so many question marks like, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? And it's because they're mixing in trying to win, trying to grow, trying to evaluate, and trying to develop all at the same time. Now you can tell there's one cause that they're all collectively looking at. And the cause is because we want to win, period. Right? I mean,
Really good. That was, I don't know if you call that wordplay. I guess it's more of like word sound play, but you
or
know
vomit.
what? I really appreciate that.
No one destroys a baseball like O'Neal Cruz.
That is the hardest hit ball in known Major League history.
Pitchers should consider themselves warned.
And it is gone! There's a Cruz missile!
Log in with your cable provider and stream the Pirates all season long on SNP 360.
We know that the Pirates have had a much busier offseason than we have become accustomed to seeing. It's been a lot of fun. We got to see Oviedo unfortunately get traded away. We got oh my gosh, Yostinson Garcia. I still am getting that wrong. Call him the password. I got a few minutes or a few months still to practice here, okay? By the time the season rolls around, I won't mess it up anymore, but I will make fun of you every time you do. We've got Mike
Garcia,
Burrows
right.
traded away. Right. And that huge trade that brought back Lau, Mangum, and don't forget Mason Montgomery, a guy who's just going to be throwing 100 miles an hour out of the bullpen from the left side. And then we've signed 2 free agents. We've signed Ryan O'Hearn, which is huge for upgrading this offense. But remember, we also signed Greg Risotto, a veteran left-hander out of the bullpen who also throws fuzz. But now the Pirates have put themselves in a fun little position where they need a right-handed bat, the exact opposite problem that they came into the offseason with. Now they're going to be looking for 2 things. They're going to be looking for a third baseman, and they're going to be looking for a starting pitcher. Those are the 2 things I assume we're going to be seeing happening here throughout the rest of the offseason. But first and foremost is finding your third baseman for this season. If the Pirates don't go out and sign somebody here, what looks like initially the best offseason in a really long time ends up becoming a really good offseason, but you didn't quite get everything you needed, right? So this move would really, talk about Pittsburgh fans already being much more excited for the season. If the Pirates go and sign the first guy I'm going to bring up here for third base, we all know about, it is going to send everybody over the edge. Kazuma Okamoto from Japan made his debut in Japan in the NPB in 2018. Every year since, other than last year when he was injured, he had at least 27 home runs. His numbers are very comparable to what Shohei did in the NPB before he came over to the States. Same as Seiya Suzuki with the Cubs. Very similar numbers to those guys. A right-handed power bat who walks a lot. He does not strike out very much, and he hits home runs. Also plays a solid third base. We're not going to see the Key Brian Hayes type stuff over there, but a solid third baseman. And man, I just can't say enough. It's going to take some money to sign Okamoto. But if you look at all the chatter, it's that the Pirates are the #1 team who are part of this. You also got the Padres now and the Angels, really down to 3 teams. And if you had told me at the beginning of this offseason that the Pirates would genuinely be the favorite to land Okamoto right before his window closes, I would say, I mean, we must be having a crazy offseason. And guess what? We are, Michael. But this guy would be a great addition to this team.
He would. And I've kind of looked at all of the options, and I'm going to throw everybody off their rocker a little bit. And it's because I've seen this guy play. He's established in the big leagues. If you look at outside of Yamamoto, most Japanese guys struggle in year one. Anybody that comes over because they're getting acclimated. I think for the value, I'd love for them to sign Yoan, or was it Moncada?
Yoan.
Moncada? Yoan.
Yeah. Moncada.
I played against him when he was a super prospect. I don't feel like this guy's ever completely put it all together. You see the injuries and whatnot. I think you sign this guy to a 1+, so maybe you do a mutual option. But he's a guy that you could get a ton of bang for your buck. He obviously had a good year last year, only in 84 games. But I think this guy, if given a chance, given an opportunity, he's a switch hitter. So he also creates a lot of problems. I think he's a better power guy or better line drive guy, at least from the right side. So he's a guy that I think would be really interesting. He's got really good hands, really good feet. And if he can stay healthy, I think it's a benefit. But I think since we have a Triolo type, it would really help this guy be able to play against those starters who he crushes. And then Triolo could come in late if need be or kind of move around. But it's going to be interesting. I'm also fine with moving Nick Gonzalez over there for the time being. But if you can land a big name from that Asian continent, I'm all in. I think they're fun. I think they bring a different pizzazz. They're going to bring a different market. There's so much more benefit there. So that's the slam dunk. But me looking at it, I'm fine with Moncada. I mean, this is a guy that had premier speed. He still runs really, really well. I think having him there, watching him do what he's possible of doing on certain days, he's a guy that can take over an entire series by himself. That's how talented he is. And I think if he has a couple swing adjustments from the left side, you're talking about a guy that they thought was going to be a premier 2020 guy season after season. And the second baseman is going to be an all-star after an all-star. But this guy's put up big numbers at times. And I don't think the power has shown out the way it can. I think it's coming. As you see last year, he had a really good power season. So, yeah, he's maybe my A- plan because I'm fine with saving that money and trying to lock up some of our young talent or going to get an even better starting pitching or even more depth there or go get an even better bullpen piece. You know, I'm all about whatever makes our team better. Obviously, you can see the third base, more offense there is great. I think you get both with Moncada at maybe $4.5 million instead of maybe 10 or 11 million. So it's kind of a good thing, I guess, for the Buccos that they have some options there because they need that right-handed bat, but having a switch hitter, I don't know. I just like it.
It would be nice. I'll give you 2 things here, one positive and
Yeah.
one negative when talking about Moncada. My one positive would be he came up and he was really, really good at first.
Really
And yeah,
good.
I played against him too. He was a good player. He's intimidating to face in the box. But my first thing here is that it could be a positive in that we've seen it with Luis Robert as well. The truth is, when you play for a team like the White Sox that has been really down, one of the worst teams of all time a few years ago, it's hard to always get inspired to do everything you can to be your best player. I do believe that Pittsburgh is cultivating this culture of we're going to be really good this year. And so I think that maybe that inspiration, that inject that into my veins, and I could probably go give you 100 innings right now even with a broken arm. It's just, that is the truth. If you put into the right
Well said.
area mentally, that can help a lot. So that's my positive for him. My negative for him would be that it's just been a while, and you don't want to necessarily have another reclamation project when everything we've shown this offseason is we're going and getting guys we know are good right now, right? So with Moncada, it's more of a, can we make him good again? And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm not saying
Well,
that they can't,
he had a
but
good year
it's
last year,
just
though.
doesn't fit along the vibe for me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? 783 in Anaheim is no joke when it comes to OPS.
Right.
That's our best OPS, right? So like
It is.
he would have been our best power bat essentially, right? Or most productive of that. And he didn't play every day. So he's the reason why, and
84
I
games,
agree
yeah.
I agree with you. It's the thought of like, I'm okay with that. With what we've done, you can take that flyer out on a guy like that because their talent is real. I mean, you're talking about a top 5 prospect in all of baseball. Those guys usually play
Right.
10 years in the big leagues when you look at it said and done, right? The number 1 guy usually becomes an all-star. The top 5 usually play at least 5 to 10 years in the big leagues on average, easily. So this guy has shown that he's been around, he's done some things, and he's lost. And I'm all in with what you said. You put a guy like him who fought to get to the United States, who had to sleep in a cave to get over here because he had to defect. He thinks he's going to be, all in when it comes to the White Sox and what they had. They had so many big Cuban prospects. Well, I think that was one of the problems. I've never seen a couple Cubans on the same team ever have success together. I never have. Maybe it's happened, but I just cannot think of it off the top of my head. Tried before he got on. And I think getting over here, putting him around guys like O'Neal Cruz and Brandon Lau, who's a little guy too with pop, I think it could just be such a fire starter for a guy who can. And like I said, I'm all in on the Japanese guy. I'm all in. But if it doesn't work out, I'm not disappointed. I don't want Suarez. I don't think he fits at all. Bad defender, right-handed bat with pull pop, doesn't really fit at PNC. But when you think about a guy that could hit left-handed, 3/4 of his at-bats, but still turn over and be a better hitter, in my opinion, from the right side, I just love that idea because he's a line drive guy from one side. He's got thump from the other side, but he still can run. And he's a guy that I think could play some outfield if you needed him to. So there's a lot of options.
Yeah, there are. And I'll throw this out there. I don't think Eugenio Suarez is the best fit for this team either, but if Pirates signed him, I would be plenty happy. That would be a great thing to see, just because, hey, once again, adding pop from the right side, knowing what you're going to get. Not great defense, a lot of strikeouts, but also he's going to hit homers, especially.
And what he did
think about
for
all the other ballparks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. But I think that, we don't want to get lost here in talking about the fact that Jared Triolo, who has struggled a lot of his big league career, had a really good end of the season last year. And so our producer Belsky asked a question, basically, what type of impact would Jared Triolo, if he continued to play the way he did in September and August, would that make this different? The problem is right now you can't tell that, right? We have to wait. We have to give Triolo a lot of the bats to see if he's going to be that guy. That's why I think you sign a third baseman, let Jared Triolo play shortstop every day, give him that shortstop position, and then see how it plays out from there. And then we're going to have Connor Griffin come up if he doesn't start at the beginning of the season. And then you can, if the team is playing well and you didn't go and sign a shortstop or you didn't sign a third baseman halfway through the season, there may be a rental out there that you can get for relatively not too bad. Because I want to make this very clear here. All of the signings we've seen and the trades we saw with Lau and Mangum and Montgomery, those are all trades and openings for a window. This is not the Pirates trying to win this year and no other year. They know they have the starting pitching available to do this for a little while. And so that's what these signings have been. Yes, Lau is only a Pirate for 2026. However, I think that if some guys end up really playing well, you might not necessarily need Lau in 2027, Or if it really does work out and he's your big dude, then maybe it's time the Pirates sign a big, long extension like we saw them do with some other guys. Very big possibility, especially because other teams will be looking at an older, smaller power hitting second baseman who's not going to be necessarily hugely coveted on the market when it comes to franchise numbers or salary numbers. So I think the Pirates could make a good signing there if that all works out. But I really like the direction. I like the direction being that this is not we're trying to win this year and we're sacrificing everything to do that. No, it's we're trying to win over this window. And I believe that Ben Cherington, all props, you got to give props where it's due, has built now this roster that looks like it can be competitive for a good solid window. And that's really, really exciting. Very enticing as a fan.
And to your point, like it's going to be telling, right? So yeah, if we sign third baseman, that's going to be telling. So Nick Gonzalez, in my mind, probably goes to AAA. You got to remember these guys have options too, which creates a problem down there too, right? Because you have Tamar, you possibly have Griffin, right? If he makes the team out of camp, which if that's their thought, maybe they don't want to move Triolo. They want to keep him at third base. So there's a lot of question marks. I think the next couple months are going to be very telling to what they believe they are, what they believe they need. Because like I wouldn't be surprised if they go find a defensive first infielder that's a shortstop first to throw back, back on the bench. Like Ahmed would be a great example, or who's the guy? Is it Rojas in LA? A guy that
Miguel Rojas,
can just play great defense, give you some timely hits, but he handles the bat well. He's going to put together good at bats. But that's how you create a playoff team, a winning team, because when you need that ground ball fielded, that maybe that normal shortstop wouldn't get to because he's got a little bit better bat. This guy gets to every time, and it's a routine play in the 8th inning when Paul Skeens is trying to finish his complete game. That's what they've got to decide. It's like, who are they, right? But I do think when we get to the coaching staff, you can look at it. There's a lot of infielders on there. So whoever's coming to us, they have some of the best infield, minds in baseball that have been shown to prove what they can do with guys if given time. And it's not because they're better coaches. It's because they're great people. These dudes literally make you feel like you can walk through walls. I think that's the biggest thing going forward is the identity in how these guys can maybe coach these guys up in a way to pull out what they've never had. And that's that little potential, whether it's low at second base. I don't think he's going to be a negative 12 defensive run save. I think he's going to be either even, maybe even a little positive. I think Brian Reynolds could, and this is going to be a bold move, but I could see him moving to center field, pushing O'Neal Cruz over to left and getting weird because I think his arm plays better there. We have the biggest left field in all of baseball. And I think Brian Reynolds is a better defender in center field because you could shift and then you don't have that outfield problem, right? O'Hearn could go to right field. But yeah, it's going to be fun. And that's why we love this game, Steven, is because you can speculate, you can think, you can look at the numbers, and then sometimes it comes down to the human element. Sometimes it does come down to the numbers, and sometimes it just comes down to that dog. Hey, I'll go out there. Whether it's good, bad, or ugly, I'm going to be the guy that fails. And that's what I love about what they've done. They have dudes that'll take the baton and say, I will wear it. I'm here. I'm getting paid. I've won. I have nothing to prove. I want to be in Pittsburgh. And that's the coolest part. It's the coolest part for me.
I only have one correction for you in your very, very smart, well put rant, I guess I would call it, but that has a negative connotation. Speech? Okay. And it's that
monologue.
You'll be looking for a ground out in the 8th inning of Paul Skeens' 6th consecutive complete game. There you go. That's the only thing that you were missing there. What? Look at that thing. You could catch with that. I've seen you catch. You can catch with your bare hands, dude. You can catch with that.
Look at that, Knox. But could you imagine?
Cool, Knox.
Steven, this is me. This is all I got. I'm a snowman, bro. Like, hello.
Give us those 2-hand catch. Show us that 2-handed catch right there. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
1930s
99,
call. They want their
99
technique
at the top.
back.
What? It's so good. Hey, here's the chest protector.
Oh, yes, dude. That's crazy.
Look at this.
I love
this is funny.
That's so wild. I love seeing you gotta, it's because how you wear it. I love seeing that because it's cool seeing it in color, right? Because you always see those chest protectors in black and white. So you just assume they're just like some boring gray or something. Nice to see bright orange. That's cool. I
Yeah,
like that a
it
lot.
is cool. Yeah,
Um,
and that's why
okay,
catchers are
so
men,
we're gonna
Steven.
yeah,
Never forget.
of course. I know. Pitchers are weak, not athletes. I get it.
He got him, and he's done it again.
Welcome to Unobstructed Views.
We're at BP. We're going to get an inside look.
Once you start loving each other, you start fighting for each other.
Welcome to Coach's Corner. And he'll admire it, so will we.
Is that too much to ask for?
Oh, baby.
Don Kelly has finalized his coaching staff for 2026. This happened last week, but we wanted to make sure that we took some time here to be able to kind of describe what this means for a manager. Don Kelly came in middle of the season last year. Well, not middle of the season, May 11th is when he started. And after that, the team was pretty good, 59-65 with the same roster that was, they were on a 51 win pace before Kelly took over. We talked about last year, everybody threw out words and things, Donnie Ball and all that stuff. Really what it means is that Don Kelly, I believe, has this very good attention to detail that as a manager is going to play really, really well, especially if he's got a full coaching staff around him that he has gotten to pick himself. So let's go over this really quickly. The new additions, Christopher Negron, Tony Beasley, the third base coach, and Bill Murphy, the pitching coach, Thomas Whitsett, the assistant pitching coach. Those are the main big acquisitions, new additions to the roster, the coaching staff, sorry. But some really interesting names here that we have talked about a little bit, but I kind of want to go into this, and I want to start actually with the pitching. We've been talking about offense all day so far, so let's quickly switch over to pitching. Bill Murphy and Thomas Whitsett, okay? Bill Murphy was the Houston Astros Major League pitching coach for the last 4 years. The Astros have the best ERA in MLB over that time. Okay, that is pretty much as good of a ringing endorsement as you can get, especially because you stole this guy from one of the best analytics teams in all of Major League Baseball, okay? So that's great. My favorite part about this, though, is that they weren't done. They went and gutted the Astros, taking their AAA pitching coach in Thomas Whitsett and throwing him up into the big leagues as the assistant pitching coach. And I love this move. These are two guys who know each other, okay? They've worked with young, talented pitching staffs recently in the past. They have brought them to success. And this is something that I think is going to send these pitchers to the next level. Paul Skeens, I don't think much is going to change. But a guy like Bubba Chandler, he is going to benefit from this so much. And I can't wait to see how this changes and what they take from Houston they bring over to Pittsburgh that maybe we didn't have before, right?
Yeah, I mean, we watched what happened last year. I mean, they bring over a guy that spent his last year in baseball with the Pirates and poured in these guys. We heard just over and over how good that, I guess, acquisition was for us. Now you see something we haven't seen in the past is they let the pitching coach go out and get his guy that he wanted as assistant, right? It would be easy to hire a Pirates guy, maybe from AAA, which I love Beans in AAA, their pitching coach. He's a great human. He's incredible what he does. He would have been a great hire as well. But the fellowship, the understanding of each other, the kind of dynamic these two have probably had over the last 4 or 5 years, you can't replace in a year. So once again, it shows that these guys are saying, hey, you're the guy, you're coming over, bring you over for a reason. We probably paid you a premium to come over here. You have the best possible staff in all of baseball. Have fun. Go get your assistant, whoever you want. We're going to support it. And he went and got a guy that's familiar with him, that he's probably been mentoring. And I think that's brilliant, right? Because you don't want to have some guy come up and have resentment. Oh, I should have gotten the job, blah, blah. It should have been my turn, my chance. And you see that a lot, right? You see that a lot in the big leagues because you want to feel loyal to whoever's in your organization, which is fine. But the fact is you're trying to win. What's the best way to win is to hire a bunch of dudes that will create accountability, that will create some type of winning atmosphere when it comes to decisions. And I think hiring somebody that's comfortable to tell, Bill, you're wrong. We've done this before. We've been here time and time again. And Thomas literally just says, we're done. We're done. We're not talking about this
You're
anymore.
still banging
I'm
on
right.
the
You're
same
wrong.
thing I told you about 7 years ago. Yeah, I
Right.
like
But
that.
we talk about it all the time. Like your staff, your assistant is the guy you can look to and say, what do you think? And he doesn't need to agree with you. His job.
He needs to be able to be honest.
Correct. And I think that's what they did. I think that's what they did with Chris Negron as the bench coach with Donnie. He's younger than Donnie, but he's a forward thinker. Donnie's a little bit more old school. I think he hired a guy to say, I think we should do this. I think he gave a completely different perspective when it comes to who he picked. Another guy that was a journeyman, played all over, and did things on teams that maybe he shouldn't even been on. But he's been a great coach. And I think that's the coolest part about all these hires. I can go on and on about Beasley, but we'll stay with pitching. They nailed it. And the fact that they kept the bullpen coach in Miguel Perez, who's the nicest human on the planet. Oh, papi, how I look today. As you
Miguelito, he's my guy.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. And maybe the best hire of them all. They finally added a major league field coordinator. The bench coach should not be doing any of that. The guy that sets up the practice plan, the spring training plan, should not be the bench coach. He should have say into it, but he shouldn't be spending his time there. His job is to help guys pull out their potential, win every single game, but it should be focused on the dirt under the lights, not before the lights.
I agree. So I'll let you, but this is me just kind of giving you the mic, Michael, because I know that you have very strong feelings in a positive way about Tony Beasley, the new Pirates third base coach. I've never gotten to meet Beasley, but he's been a Pirates guy for a while, 3 stints here, but he spent the last 11 years elsewhere with the Texas Rangers as their third base coach. He comes over to Pittsburgh. What is he bringing back to the City of Steel here, Michael?
So we know Tyrek Brock. We had him on the podcast. We talked to him a bunch, right? He has a deep passion for people. Now take Tony Beasley and shrink Tyrek Brock and give him a storyteller's voice, and now you have Tony Beasley, right? Like Tony Beasley, when I first met him, I was in Texas, and he came to me, and he was just like, tell me about yourself. And it's like the whole world slowed down for a minute. We're just walking out to start the day, and I swear to you, somehow 5 minutes turned into 30. And that's what he has. He has that effect on people. He's going to slow down the heartbeats of guys. He's an info first guy. He's been, in multiple different roles, but he's a guy that makes you believe you can do things maybe you can't. But he's the perfect addition to this, and he brings a ton of wisdom. He's a guy that probably would have retired if it wasn't for this job. I heard that from Jack Wilson, and I think that says a lot about this human being and where he wants to be. I know there's a couple people around baseball. Jeff Branson also added this. He's a guy that feels like he has something to prove, something he wants to give back to the organization that he kind of, lost his handle on. He got fired for no apparent reason. I felt like he was one of the better hitting coaches we had, him and Rick Eckstein. I feel like we've made some really good hires, but they were more baseball minds. So I'm glad he's coming back. Yeah, I just think the hires, as long as they took Steven, I think they nailed them. I really genuinely think they nailed them in every single way. So it's going to be exciting. I love that they made no changes to the hitting side. It gives Matt Haig a chance to, work with, Christian Marrero again and Johnny Tucker again to come up with a collective idea of how these guys can succeed. I think the older guys are going to naturally migrate to Haig so he can have that focus. Younger guys probably migrate to Tucker. And then you have Marrero right in the middle kind of facilitating. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And I'm excited to talk to these guys. And that's the coolest part. I think we're going to have more communication, more opportunity to learn about what's going on because, Tony Beasley would talk to you forever. I think Negron's going to be talking to you. They're going to want to talk ball, and that's what we need in Pittsburgh.
I agree. And talking about Negron, I think the biggest thing for this, there's 2 parts to the Negron hire that I'm a huge
You played
fan
against
of.
him, right?
Number one, yeah, but I don't remember facing him. But we were playing same places, same time, so we must have played against each other. So Negron brings two things I really like. One, just to be honest with you, he's a bench coach. Don Kelly needed an actual bench coach, somebody who was going to take a lot of the responsibilities he was used to doing. And so he was still doing some of them as a manager. That's not your job anymore, Donnie. Sorry, dude. You got to, he's one of those guys that you have to you have to take things away from. Hey, Donnie, stop doing this. I know it's not because he thinks he does it better than everybody else. It's because he doesn't want to force anybody else to do it if he knows he can do it, right? So now you're giving somebody,
we know a little bit of that.
You're giving Don Kelly. Yeah, right. Exactly. You're giving Don Kelly, Christopher Negron, who's going to be the guy who will go, hey, dude, we can do this part. This does not need to be you. You can go focus on whatever it is you need to actually be doing right now. I think that's going to be huge. The second thing that I think is really big that I don't think a lot of people have noticed here, they signed the third base coach for the Seattle Mariners to be their bench coach. Now, you would think, well, this guy must be more so an offensive-minded guy that will be bringing what the Mariners were able to do last year and hitting home runs at a rate they're not used to. I disagree. I think they went and got him because the Mariners have virtually the same pitching staff as the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he's been around them for the last 4 years, seeing how that development, how that growth, what they needed, and how they progressed and how they've gotten to where they are, right? Because all those Mariners pitchers all got to their highest potential. Honestly, all of them did. And that's what the Pirates need here. You can't miss out on Bubba Chandler anymore because you traded away Mike Burrows. You can't miss on these guys. And I believe that Negron is going to be a huge asset to that, even though he's not necessarily a pitching guy. He'll be more of a mentality guy for the pitching staff. And I think that's very, very helpful and exactly what they needed. And one more thing here I got to say before we go to something a little fun to end the episode. I just got to say, really, really excited for Alan Burr. We call him AB. He was my strength coach in AA in 2015. Let me rephrase that. He was my strength coach in AAA in 2016, man. And he's worked his way all the way up. He was the assistant strength coach in the big leagues last year. And now he's got himself the head dog job. And I'll tell you what, he is a really good, reliable, informative, works with you. All the guys love him. He is going to be, I'm really excited for him to get that job. So good for you, Alan Burr. I hope you're having a great offseason. Anyway, let's go to our last little subject here. We're going to play a little Build Bucs. We've talked about the minor leaguers who have been coming up for a while, so we're going to just skip this episode. We're just going to go do something a little bit different. SportsNet Pittsburgh put out a graphic about building your SNP group, who's sitting at your table. We saw this. We got a lot. And just to be honest, there's a lot of hockey here, okay? And I get it. A
lot of hockey, Steven. A lot of
hockey. But I will say this, okay? There are 3 broadcasters or 3 media members here that I have to say. Potash, Pittsburgh legend. Of course, he's going to be on there. You got Hannah Mears, maybe the brightest shining star in sideline reporting in baseball right now. And then literally the person who can do anything. I think that Haley Hunter could be an analyst for the baseball show and she would still kill it. Like, I genuinely believe 100%. That because she prepares better than anybody else. She does baseball and hockey, hosting and sideline reporting. What do they call sideline reporting in hockey? I honestly don't know. Rinkside? Is that what it is? Rinkside? Okay, I got the thumbs up from the producer, Nick Belsky, so we're going to go with that.
Skater side.
Skater side. I like that. That's really good. Ice side doesn't really have a nice flow to it. But we got our own Build a Bucs. And we're going to figure out with our producer, Nick Belsky here, how we're going to put this together. Okay, so basically we're going to have the similar graphic, but we're going to be going with Pirates guys. Is that correct? I'm trying to figure this out on the fly as we go because doing the Build a Bucs table is always very difficult for me. I have a hard time choosing people.
Hold on. Here's Belsky. Sorry. We're going to go Steelers and Buccos because there's not a Steeler on here either, and they're going to make the playoffs, even though they didn't play good yesterday against the Browns, which made me brown myself. But that's okay. It happens, right? But they've had a really good season. Yeah. So, yeah.
Oh, Michael, you disgust me.
What are you talking about? I was talking about the color brown. All right. So I want to ask you a question first before we get into that. I want to know, what do you
Okay.
think Potash's favorite dish is? Like, if we're gonna have these
Oh,
people
I'm
over to Michael and Steven's, special
right.
dinner with Santa, because he'll be there, and Buddy the Elf.
Obviously.
Just saying. What do we cook Potash?
I'm gonna be honest. He seems like a sweet potato casserole type guy. That's what
Ooh,
I've got going.
ooh,
I think he likes the
ooh.
marshmallows on top.
Burnt or
You
not burnt?
flambe the whole thing.
Ooh,
What?
flambe. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, fire. It's a fancy word
Oh,
for fire.
yeah. Oh, fire. Oh, that's good. All right.
Yeah,
What
I
about?
think he likes the sweetness.
Yeah, he is sweet. You're
He's
right.
very sweet.
He doesn't like his marshmallows burnt, just toasted.
Just toasted. Yeah, toasted
Just toasted.
marshmallows. Who doesn't like a
Like a
toasted
little,
marshmallow?
like a little brown.
Oh, there you go.
See what
Nice.
I
A
did
little
there? Yeah.
browning, if you
Yeah.
will. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't. You know
Okay,
what?
so I got a question for you.
Yeah.
I got a question for you. We
Yeah.
had O'Neal Cruz and Brandon Lau on the SNP graphic. You initially brought this question up, but I think you must have an idea for an answer then. So my question to you is, what did O'Neal Cruz get for Christmas? What was his favorite gift he got for Christmas?
In my mind, in my little kid mind, the first thing that popped in is, I hope he got a camel. That was the first thing that popped in. I'm like, you know what? This guy needs a camel.
Might be
But
big enough.
exactly. I just want to see him ride a camel, right? I just feel like that would be perfect. I feel like, honestly, I think he lives on a little bit of land in the Dominican. Maybe he got a couple
Oh yeah.
goats.
Ooh, I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're really big
Have his own
into.
goat milk.
Yes, and he comes back really strong and ginormous, like always. What about Brandon Lau? What do you think he got for Christmas? Besides the Bucs
Oof. I have okay. I think Brandon Lau got one of those Mark McGuire wiffle bats, from when we were kids that are
the
like
big
absolutely massive
barrel.
barrels. Yeah, just like the absolutely massive barrel,
Yes.
but the little and it comes with the wiffle ball that's specifically made to travel like 300 feet somehow
Yeah, that's
to
my
make you
favorite.
feel
Yeah,
like a gangster. Yeah,
yeah,
I think Brandon Lau got one of those. That's my call because he's not a big man. I think that's something that casual
yeah.
Pittsburgh fans who haven't done a lot of research into this are going to be genuinely surprised by. I'm like, wait, this is the big power bat that the Pirates got this year? Because he is not a big guy. He doesn't look big in the
He's
box,
pretty much Adam
but
Frazier,
he
right?
hits for, yeah,
Like
yeah,
size
very
wise.
similar to
Yeah,
Adam Frazier.
yeah.
But he just hits tanks, dude. And I can't wait to see that. So that would be my guess on that. This is
Awesome.
as much as I got. So my question for you to go back from this would be Hannah Mears. Hannah
Yeah.
Mears, what did she get for Christmas that she didn't really like?
Oh, a karaoke set. Karaoke
Dude,
set.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. She was like, "You got to be kidding me! Is this what we got?" And then I bet
Again?
she made every one of her family members sing while she watched. Like, she bossed them up after that, because I was
She's got
thinking,
like
like,
6 karaoke machines collecting dust in the garage. People keep giving them
yeah,
to her. She's like, "Stop giving me karaoke machines."
yeah. It's like, like when I get clothes, I kind of laugh, and I genuinely appreciate it. But it's like, yeah, I have a lot of hoodies. Like, we kind of get like
I don't
7
need
hoodies a
any, though.
year, right? But like, it's always nice. But I bet, like, her family I've met, super nice people, and I'd be like, oh, I know, microphone, singing, performing, it's everything she is. Let's get her a karaoke set. And I bet she does have like 5 of them. Like, I have a couple gifts that
Yeah.
my parents have got me a couple times, and I laugh about it. Like, we have, I think, 3 alarms. Being safe, you know what I mean? Like, just being
And you're
safe.
still late to work every day.
No,
How is that
no.
possible?
Security alarms.
Oh,
Security.
that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
Great gift, but we have a nice house, not that nice. So yeah, it's
I gotta
fun.
be
But
honest.
here's,
If I was thinking about breaking into a house, I wouldn't break into yours. You're a scary guy.
why, thank you, and I have
You're welcome.
Gingerella.
Right, of course.
So I think Hannah Mears would be best at family games. on this list. Like, I don't think anybody's better. Who do you think could compete with her?
Oh, that's tough. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that when it comes down to family games, I think that there's a possibility that Dan Potash is like a
Yeah.
wizard at
Pictionary
especially those
genius.
weird family games. Yeah,
Yep.
Pictionary, charades, maybe a little bit of like sandbags. What's that called? Cornhole. I think Dan
Cornhole.
Potash just murders those games, and we just don't know this
That's a
because we
good
haven't seen
point.
it yet. We did
Yeah.
watch him putt in The Office, and that
Yeah.
wasn't fantastic. So hopefully there's some other talents there. I mean, I wasn't good either, so I'm not saying he was
but
worse than me, but you know.
it happens. Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. That's so good. And I think where Haley fits in to just round it all in is, there's always that one family member that kind of corners you. She's the one that would take the bullet.
Absolutely.
She'd be the one that, like, no matter what, she's content, she's happy, but she's the one that everybody's like, man, she was just really nice. But the person that corners you, maybe it's the grandma that tells you how your life should be. I don't know, but she's the one that's taking that bullet.
She is, she's because she's way too nice. So she's going to be
She's
like,
way
oh,
too nice.
absolutely. Yeah. Let's talk
Yeah.
for the next half hour about nothing that I care about. That
Yeah.
would be, that would be Haley Hunter. That's a good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on Bucs Bounty. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Please like, follow, subscribe, watch us on YouTube at SportsNet Pittsburgh or anywhere you watch or listen to your podcast. We really appreciate you guys joining us. Hopefully we'll see the Pirates making one or two more moves, getting ready for this season, but a very exciting offseason so far. And we will see you next week back here on Bucs Bounty.